So during my time playing and recording videos for Forza Horizon 5, I noticed that the cars that the players uses often reveals a lot about their playstyles. This video and potential series are inspired by SoundSmith's Team Fortress 2 Stereotype series, since I haven't seen anybody made a video about car stereotypes that are actually based on playstyle / in-game and not like real-life stereotypes, like the Ford Mustang and that kind of thing. Now, because the year is 2025 and for some reason people get offended at the most tiny of touches offensive words, I need to do this disclaimer. Stereotypes has exceptions, okay? Just because I notice a stereotype doesn't mean it applies to you or the players you see around you. It's just an assumption from my point of view and potentially your views as well, okay? Alright, let's begin. Ever since this car was introduced in the anniversary update, every player and their mother has one of these in their garage, and for a good reason. This is by far one of the most overpowered cars in S1 road racing. I can't play a single S1 road racing lobby without seeing at least one player using the Viper. There's a 50-50 chance that the person using the Viper is an absolute respectable player, drives clean, races and races fast, but the other 50% is absolutely going to ruin your lobby and race. They will race dirty, destroy you, and run off like nothing happened because the thing is so fast, you know, they're gonna run away. So if you see a Viper Anniversary Edition in your lobby, be cautious, alright? Because they will either be really good or treat you like dog shit. These guys are generally pretty good. The Ford GT is one of the most consistent road racing cars in S1 and also A-Class. These guys appreciate a car that are pretty much the middle of the road and often races pretty clean. Though I do say this, for some reason I notice these guys are like the Daniel Ricciardos of Forza players. They sometimes tend to brake real late into the turn, which most of the time gets them to end up into the wall, but I still like these guys, I really do. Now, it's important to note that the Ford GT in S1 racing is a lot more competitive than A-Class build for obvious reasons, so don't expect much of these guys in A-Class, but be on the lookout for these guys in an S1 lobby. This is the Ford GT Stereotype in road racing. These guys aren't the fastest, but aren't the slowest. They race clean, drive consistently, they sometimes win, they sometimes finish bottom half. They're just there to compete and appreciate a consistent car that gets the job done. I respect that, I really do. Now, because the Lola is one of the best dirt racing cross-country cars in S1 lobbies, you would think players using this are pretty competitive and are often battling in the top 3, right? Ha! You're wrong. From my experience, most of the time, these guys suck. Okay, that's pretty broad, but the point is, the Lola is a hard car to drive, and the players who drive this thing most of the time struggles to drive it, hence they often finish bottom half the lobby. So, the stereotype is that these guys have the equipment, but they can't drive it properly. I mean, I don't blame them. One of the reasons why it's hard to drive, though, it's because this car always wants to do a Mark Webber / Peter Dumbrek. Here we go. Oh my god!
The Mercedes, but...
And because this car is hard to drive, players often look elsewhere for an easier but similarly performing car, and luckily they have the Sabra is like the Ford GT Stereotype of dirt racing. It's a pretty easy car to drive for new players in rally races, and it's pretty consistent enough that the veterans will also use it. However, because the Sabra is easy to drive and is fast, players who didn't like driving the Lola tends to jump shift to the Sabra and have a better time. And also, like the Lola, sometimes players would either underperform the car and finish bottom half, or they don't know how to drive and finish bottom half. This is the usual tryhard car in S2 dirt racing, and you can find these guys pretty commonly trying their hardest to win. I mean, nothing wrong with that, it's racing, so you gotta try their hardest to win. Though, of course, their skills are questionable, some are good, some are bad, but they are always defeated by the true meta of S2 dirt racing, which is the... This thing is stupid fast. I mean stupid fast. For a homologation car for endurance racing, this thing is unexpectedly fast on the dirt. And I see actual high-ranking players drive this thing a lot. Meta cars in general are tryhard cars, the people trying to do their hardest to win, so I won't say much other than watch these guys out in your S2 lobbies. However, in S1 lobbies, in my experience, these guys are pretty pathetic and slow. Now sure, on occasions, you would see some of these really fast dudes in this car in S1 lobbies, but for like 60% of the time, they are pathetic. But at least they are more competent in racing than the... Oh boy, where do I even begin with this thing? The Bone Shaker, the symbol of the meta, the sweats, and the tryhards of Forza. You know, ever since the Bone Shaker became an absolute hellhole to deal with in Forza Horizon 4, every other player knew that whoever drove the Bone Shaker, they would do anything to win. Players who transition to Horizon 5 tend to use this thing frequently, and I really don't blame them. It's still really fast. Now, there are two stereotypes that pertain to this car, the S1 dirt racing class and the A-class bone shakers. The S1 class bone shakers are really scary to race against because the bone shaker is stupid fast in S1 rally. If they start in front of you, kiss them goodbye, they will pull a 10-second gap to you when they finish a race. Or if they start behind you, you might want to give them some room, you know, for them to overtake you because they will barge you out of their way and win. It's a guarantee they are going to finish ahead of you if you don't drive hard enough. So these guys are often really fast or really cocky, but they would still win. So yeah, watch out. Now the other stereotype of the bone shaker I'd like to dub the I like FH4 better than FH5 stereotype. Players who use A-class bone shakers and A-class lobbies always remember the time when they played Forza Horizon 4 and used the bone shaker to absolutely obliterate everyone in the lobby. But now, since the bone shaker in Horizon 5 is not as fast in A-class than Horizon 4, these guys would still use the bone shaker, trying to prove that it's as good as it did in FH4. They don't win, they complain how it used to be good, and that FH4 is a better Forza game, continues to use it constantly, drive as hard as they can, and still finish below top 3. Oh, and again, they all can't drive for shit and are super dirty. I hate this car, the people driving it. For the longest time, this car was the fastest drag car in the game. These guys would often wait at the drag strip at the festival site, lure in new players who are uneducated about this car, race them, absolutely destroys them, boost their ego. But now, since the Camaro drag car is in the game and it's a festival playlist car, a few of them jump ship to the Camaro and continue to do this ego-building scheme. But some players remain in their Diablo since they don't have the Camaro, continues to build their self-esteem in a virtual driving game, not wanting to actually build a proper fun dragster, and race players who build proper fun dragsters. The only way to beat these guys' ego is A, using that Camaro dragster, or B, hacking. This is the fastest car in the game. That's probably the only words echoing players' head when they use this car. I mean, I don't blame them. It's pretty fun to go absolute yards at danger signs at 250 mph plus, go over 300 miles an hour in speed traps, and go to top 10% on the leaderboard. So, with that in mind, these players tend to think to themselves,
this is the fastest car in the game. Surely it's very fast against other players, right?
Well, in practice, not so much. Heck, I even made a video testing a build posted by the official Forza developers about using the Jesko in an S2 lobby. Spoiler alert, it's up. Players using the Jesko and S2 lobbies tend to finish at the back since they don't really know how to handle this car in the turn. I mean, frankly, it's really hard to drive this thing for me in S2 lobby, so because it's more of a speed car, they finish last. Remember folks, handling matters too. Why in the absolutely everything that is holy are using this car in dirt race? Okay, context. This is one of the cars that developers gifted to all players new and old. You see these guys a lot in S1 rally / cross country lobbies, but for some odd reason, new players have this brilliant idea of rallying a bone stock, rear wheel drive, mid-engine, low ground clearance, high horsepower supercar on the dirt against everybody else in an all-wheel drive car. Like, how stupid are you? Why you do this? You're not even gonna finish a race in time. What is your logic? This is the Viper Anniversary Edition of drifting lobbies. These guys absolutely dominate drifting lobbies. All-wheel drive drifting in general in online lobbies is ridiculously overpowered, and the AutoZam takes the cake as the most overpowered drift car in online lobbies. Like the Viper, I can't go into a drifting lobby without seeing at least one AutoZam absolutely destroying the competition and leaving rear-wheel drive drifters like mine zero chance to win as they get absolutely ridiculous scores and drift angles you wish you could achieve. You can't tell already, I'm not a fan of all-wheel drive drifting at all, and I'm not a fan of these guys whatsoever. Now I'm including all of these three cars because there are two stereotypes. The first is very universal. 2 words, new players. These 3 cars you get pretty much at the start of the game, and also one of the most widely used cars in the game, because every single new player drives this and they have no other cars to race. Every single lobby I joined, and I'm not kidding, a player ranked 20 or lower will be driving any of these 3 cars because they have no other car to drive. 90% of the time it's bone stock, so they are hella slow. and they either barely finish or DNF. They are literally the most ignored players in online racing, and very quickly, these guys would immediately move on to a new car and neglect the starter cars once they earn some credits. Now, the other stereotype is the players who realize that the Supra is pretty good in A class and the Corvette is ridiculously broken in S1 class, and are really scary to race against. They aren't dirty by any means, but they are scary fast. By the way, I made a series of videos about the initial 3 cars to see how good it is. Check it out in the video description below. Now, I was going to include the Cosworth in the starter car stereotype segment because it's also pretty much the 4th starter car after you complete the first showcase event. But the stereotype is pretty much the same, new kid on the block. However, there's one thing that is different from the people driving the Cosworth compared to the 3 starter cars. They are unbelievably dirty. These guys will go out of their way to ruin your race, whether it's subtle or very obvious. They are essentially newbie tryhards, but not the sweaty tryhards. You just received this car from a wheel spin or bought it off the auction house or were gifted by someone else. You maxed it out to X class, saw how unbelievably fast this is, lowered it down to pretty much the top of S2 and tried racing it in an S2 road racing lobby so you can win everything. But as it turns out, you're not a really good driver and everyone around you is most likely better and used to S2 racing in cars are better than your Sesto, or even in Sesto but are faster than you. You see these guys a lot in S2 racing trying to compete against meta builds, and sometimes they do try to fight. But the Sesto is really hard to drive in high speed, so they would often crash and finish below top 5, which honestly, I feel bad. It's a really accessible, good car for S2 and it's really cool, but really it takes time to master it, and for the players who know how to drive this thing, watch out, those guys are pretty fast. You also got this from wheel spin or bought it off the auction house, got gifted this car by someone else, but you got this car first before the Sesto. And because you don't have the Sesto, you use this car in S2 lobbies as a crutch. This car along with the Sesto is the most common S2 car in road racing lobbies, but this car is objectively worse than the Sesto, so new players who don't have better S2 cars use this as a crutch before getting the Sesto or better S2 car. If you see these guys in your lobby, seriously, look out. These guys are some fast sons of bitches in A-class road racing. They don't appear too often, but if they do, you better get out of their way or they will go around you and speed off or ram you after I found that out. Keep going, let's get on the podium. Son of a... Oh my... So yeah, watch 6. These guys are hella fast, man. This is another gift car for the developers, so basically everybody has these. It's also one of the most common cars you see in both road racing and dirt, so these guys are pretty new. However, unlike the Cosworth players, these guys are actually pretty clean drivers. Sure, they won't win and be competitive, especially in dirt racing, because, again, what is your logic of racing a rear-wheel drive muscle car on the dirt against all-wheel drive opponents? But at least they have something called a brain and do race pretty clean. I respect you guys, I really do. While this truck is pretty much the meta of A-class cross-country, it's actually not used as much as you think. If you queued up for just an open lobby and you stumble upon a cross-country A-class, there are actually fewer X-class pickup trucks in a lobby than other meta cars. Yes, your lobby might have one, but it's either a slow one or there's none. You know why? Because I swear to God, if you queued up for a custom race, specifically an A-class cross-country, trust me, at least from my experience, when you load up to a specific lobby, I guarantee you there'll be 2 or 3 X-class trucks racing. They own and roam the custom racing section of A-class cross-country. They race there 24/7, 365 days a year, and you could stumble upon the exact same dude in the same truck, same livery the very next day when you boot up Forza Horizon 5. So there are 2 stereotypes that pertains to this truck. The first stereotype is the players who are absolutely sick and tired of the dirty drivers' bullshit. They have been rammed and bullied in their usual cars and they raced in their last couple of lobbies, so they use this truck as a sacrifice to performance and race knowing that they are in a big ass truck and they won't be rammed off the road as easily. And or they want to seek revenge on all the dirty drivers when they spot one. I mean, I don't blame them, I hate dirty drivers, so you. And the other stereotype is that they are memeing. They know they can't compete for shit, but they drive it because it's hilarious. Rock on, y'all are awesome. Every time you queue up for an A-class mixed service race / rally racing, you see at least one of these WRXs in your lobby, because in their mind, the WRX is a rally legend, so I will carry that legacy into the game. And you know what? Some of them are actually pretty quick, and some, well, kinda slow. Although I noticed that these guys are pretty dirty drivers though, so try to be a little bit cautious when you see these guys. Well, this is the S1 version of the WRX Stereotype, so the Stereotype is basically applied to the Audi as well. However, this time, these players are either really good or really bad to the point that they'll go out of control and crash. And frankly, I get a good laugh every time they crash. It's so funny. This is, in my opinion, the best S2 road racing car in the game. And nobody uses it. Seriously, I'm genuinely surprised I have yet to see anybody use this car in an S2 lobby after that AR12 video, considering how good it is. But since I mentioned it here, tons of you are going to try it out yourself, and soon enough it will flood all of S2 road racing, so I'm sorry. But if you do see these guys driving the F1 Longtail, well, wave them goodbye, because they know how to drive. This F1 is a hard car to drive. It is hard to drive, and they will know how to drive it well. And when the lights go out, kiss them goodbye, because they will literally speed off into the horizon. Get it? Because Horizon, like Forza Horizon? Anyone? Alright, I'll go to timeout. God damn it. Well, that's all I got today. This has got to be the most controversial video ever. Now, of course, I probably missed a few cars, and by that I mean over 850 cars, but do let me know down in the comments down below if you'd like me to do another part, and maybe leave your observation of a Stereotype down below too. Let me know what other cars you want me to cover or want me to do it alphabetically. I might do a part 2 covering meta car stereotypes not covered in this video. Let me know if you want that. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much for dropping by in today's video, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? See ya.